Hey Ali, how are you?
I'm well, Tim. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. On the beautiful Friday. What a good day for a podcast.
It is. It's not so beautiful here. It's actually gray, and we're expecting an ice storm in Toronto.
Wow. I always hear Toronto has a better weather, so I don't know what's going on. In
I
Montreal we have sun here today
Oh, that's
for
right.
a
You're in
change.
Montreal. Yes, yes. So you can relate. But no, we're cloudy. It's pretty dark, but that's okay. I think
Yay.
summer is around the
We're
corner.
we're inside doing podcasts, so why it doesn't bother us, right?
Exactly.
So Ali, welcome to Smart Match TV. It's our podcast episode. And I would love to dig into your story, to share this story with all of our viewers. So let's start by asking ourselves a very first question. Please
Okay.
introduce yourself, your business, what you do, and then we can talk about your professional story next.
Sure. So my name is Ali, and I'm the owner of Matched by Ali. I run it with my partner, who is also Ali, which gets confusing, but hence the name. So my full name is Alissa. My partner's name is Allison, and that's how we sort of came to the name Matched by Ali. And so we're matchmakers, and we work across Canada and the US. We
All
have
right.
two offices, one head office in
Yep.
Florida, one head office in Toronto.
Makes sense. Thank you for the intro. And I'm CEO of SmartMatchApp. I run the matchmaking CRM technology company called SmartMatchApp. And Allison is our client, so we will be talking about her more probably than us today. So,
Alyssa,
Ali,
I'm
please.
Alyssa.
Okay, yes. And I
That's
always
just case in point. It's very
I
confusing. So
I
my name
always
is
can
Alyssa.
by email, especially when I do my
I know.
support, I always mix it up. Always, seriously. Please forgive
Very
me one more time. Now it's a public apology. Now everybody's gonna know. Ali, please tell us how you got into matchmaking business. How long ago? What made you enter this wonderful industry?
So I actually didn't really stumble into matchmaking. I came through it via my therapy work that I was doing before. I ran my own practice, and I spent years helping people sort of unpack all kinds of heartbreak and relationship trauma. And I think there was a prevalent theme. You know, the theme was always like the work was being done after the relationships were over and after the damage was done. And matchmaking sort of became my way of meeting and interviewing people earlier and sort of getting ahead of the dysfunction that people were, coming to me for. And I sort of wanted to help people form these healthy, conscious relationships or partnerships ahead of time instead of just, reacting to something that happens afterwards when it already failed. So, I started sort of leveraging my therapy practice into coaching people into healthy relationships. And that kind of inspired me to start a matchmaking business. And
Is is your profession actually a psychologist?
Yes. So I'm certified as a counselor. I worked in Toronto in many different places as a counselor. I am a certified addictions and counselor specialist. I have mindfulness training. I used to lead mindfulness classes, and I've had my own practice for a long time. So it wasn't, you know, even in this business of matchmaking, it's not that I just match people. I actually coach them, I challenge them, I prepare them for healthy relationships.
I was gonna ask you if you still do counseling and therapy, but you just answered it.
Yeah,
It's a part of your matchmaking business, right?
exactly. So, I've been able to merge the two worlds seamlessly together. It's actually the best combination because what I was finding originally is I could introduce people to each other and they could be the perfect fit on paper, everything lined up. But if both people weren't prepared emotionally, if they didn't have the skills, if they weren't vulnerable, because you need vulnerability to connect. You really have to let down all the walls, and people were just not putting their best foot forward. So all the work in the world as a matchmaker, was futile if people weren't ready to receive their partner. And so I now am able to help people prepare to allow them to put their best foot forward and really be the best versions of themselves, so that they are successful not only in life and in so many different areas of their life, but also specifically in their relationships.
Ali, I hear quite often in my interviews or in my phone calls with customers that
Tim, I'm
coaching.
having a hard time hearing you. You sound so far away again.
Well, if you still
Oh,
can hear me, we can continue. The software is gonna record this.
yeah,
I can try something as we speak, but as long as you can hear me, I don't know
it's
what
very
happened.
faint. I'm having trouble hearing some of your words.
How about now?
Better,
Is it better?
better. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Um, I was saying that I hear the repeating thing that matchmakers do coaching, and it's an important part of their service because mainly because if you are matching someone who is still not healed or still not ready to do actually enter a quality relationship, the efforts are futile. Like
Yeah,
it's just gonna repeat the problems if they have. So but I guess because you are so well experienced in this, I guess maybe that's your edge. Is that correct? Is that one of your unique competitive
I
edges?
100%. Yeah, I think that that's what differentiates me from other matchmakers. Because I don't believe the real issue is that people haven't met the right person. I honestly think that they just haven't become the versions of themselves that can recognize and receive the right relationship. And so by being able to work with people who are, potentially very successful in all facets of their life, but somehow they're stuck in unhealthy cycles. Maybe they're dating from a place of anxiety, or, you know, over functioning to feel worthy, or mistaking attraction for alignment. Um, there are just so many dysfunctional ways that people go into relationships, and I help them break that cycle. So, because I come from both a clinical and strategic background, I don't waste time with the fluff. I really want to just get results through actual tangible transformation, so that they can go out and meet people and really understand what it takes to sustain a healthy relationship.
Does this transformation take place in a physical realm, or is it all of your meetings or most of your meetings are on Zoom? How do you do this transformation?
It
Is it
really
physical?
depends
Is it
where
in
the
the
clients
office?
are. Oh, sorry, you cut out a little bit. Say that again.
Is it in the physical realm? Is it in your office or maybe in another physical place like a coffee shop or something? Where do you do these transformations?
All of the
How do
above.
you do it?
All of
All
the
of the
above.
above?
So I have clients that are very remote that I can't get to, but we need to start doing the work so that we're not wasting time on their matchmaking contracts. So for those people, we'll do video Zoom sessions. I have people that are in my city, so I give them the option. We can meet in a coffee shop, we can meet in my office. So I've done all of it. It's, at the end of the day, it's my client's journey. So whatever makes them comfortable. I've also flown out to meet with clients.
And can you hear me okay now?
It comes and goes. Sometimes it's very loud. It's as if you're
And
speaking into
now
a
is okay?
microphone. Yeah, it's okay now.
I switched to the Bluetooth just in case. Um, I'm just curious in your business, for example, just to understand it a little better. Do you find that people are spending way too much time in the virtual dating realm, apps, social media? And if yes, is this helpful in getting, like you said, becoming becoming ready for an actual relationship or not? That's I just see this the continuous theme between like people spend a lot of time on the internet and that kind of creates almost like a wall between it makes it for them so much harder to actually get into the into the new open up to the new possibilities, to the real possibilities, meeting real people, getting out of their office, getting out of their home. Do you see that problem, or that's not a not
I
a problem in your area?
Yeah, I mean, I think you've tapped into a problem not just with dating, but with sort of the world we live in today. Everything is disposable, everything is upgradable. There's always something better around the corner. And it becomes a little bit of, or a lot of analysis paralysis where people are just unwilling to make decisions because there's just so many options. It's no different than turning the TV on with Netflix, and you can spend hours trying to decide what to watch because you don't want to make the wrong decision, and so you keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and there is no perfect decision. And sometimes you just have to make a decision and make it perfect. There's no perfect decision, but the one you make has to become perfect, and people are afraid to do that. And I think with a matchmaker, it allows them to sort of give up that decision making, analysis paralysis, overthinking, overanalyzing, and they put full trust into the experts who have done this, who understand compatibility, who have seen results, who know what it takes to make a successful relationship. And
Yeah.
I think when you take away that pressure, um, not to mention, it's a full time job to weed through, everybody that's online and to go through the dating apps. So most successful established people just don't have the wherewithal to spend the time doing that. And that's why they, just like you would hire a coach for sports, you would hire a therapist for your mental health, you would hire a nutritionist, if you needed help in that department. Matchmaking is no different. People need help in that department and they should turn to an expert to save them time, to save them pain and suffering, the emotional turmoil. There's a lot that comes with finding the right person, and so why not
And I
outsource that?
think matchmaking is a matchmaking business from everything that I know, and I know a lot. Just because it's the sound is going away.
I'm doing my best. I'm using my
Yeah, I'll
microphone
switch again.
hearing.
So, is matchmaking business is, in my opinion, from what I hear, is a tough business because you work in so many realms, right? It's there's psychology involved, there's therapy involved, there is the business side of it, booking meetings, booking dates, following up on the dates, following up on the client's success. So it's like it's a lot involved, several different disciplines are involved in order to make success. Let's talk about the problems that you are solving, maybe some specific problems like the typical problems that you actually solve for your clients. Maybe an example.
The typical problems. I mean, I guess I would say the real problem that most people come in with is thinking that they haven't met that the right person just doesn't exist. That's the main problem. The recurring problem for my clients is there a lid for this pot? Is there somebody who is going to fit? And it's my job to show them that it's not about the fact that they haven't met the right person. It's about the fact that they haven't been able to connect to the right person. And so I'm challenging those people's ideas of what a healthy relationship looks like. I'm helping challenge their ideas of what they need in their life. A lot of people come in with certain preconceived ideas, certain stereotypes, certain wants and checklists that are really not necessarily in their best interest. And so I help them break those cycles. I help them reframe their ideas about what they're looking for in the future. And, through that therapy role, I'm able to help sort of help them have a different perspective and be more open minded so that they actually have a higher chance of meeting the right person. So it's really taking my clients through that transformation so that they can meet the right person. That's the main challenge. Some people come in with criteria that are completely irrelevant to a successful relationship, but they don't recognize that initially.
And so that once they realize it, then they're on a way to a successful outcome. What kind of success stories, what kind of successful outcomes you can share with us without sharing any private details, but just an example of a person who comes in with this exact issue that you just described,
Yeah.
and then going through the journey with you, which is, I think, a wonderful journey. It's not just about dating. It's actually self improvement, self awareness, almost journey. Because what's more important in our life than personal relationships? I mean, it all starts there. I mean, you spend everyday time with someone. It's better be good.
Well,
It's better be fulfilling. It better bring you happiness, and satisfaction. So, how do they get there? Like, from the problems they have, how long does it take? How much work does it take? And what is the outcome? A good outcome example.
yeah, I mean, so I'll answer your first question. You asked about a success story. And I specifically remember working with a client. He was incredibly successful. He was an entrepreneur. He had all the accolades, but he just kept choosing emotionally unavailable women. And he, deep down, I think, believed that if someone was too available, they just couldn't be the one for him. So through, a lot of coaching, we uncovered that this came from some unresolved fear of him actually being truly seen and vulnerable. And once he was able to sort of shift, in that, once he was able to become more vulnerable, and we actually reintroduced him to a match that he originally dismissed. And he went on to meet her, and they connected instantly because he was now approaching this match from a completely different place. His walls were down. We'd done a lot of work. We dealt with some unresolved issues, and they're actually engaged now. So the actual match did not change. It was the same woman I introduced to him initially that he completely dismissed. But what really changed was how he showed up.
Is the
And
client, is your client is what changed?
the client changed, and he changed because he was finally able to receive the right person. So the block
Yeah.
was really in him. And so that's what I do. I don't just send matches. I actually change the outcome of those matches. That's the real goal, because
I hope that the YouTube algorithms get this video in front of the right person that has, similar situation in their life. Um,
I hope so
it's I
too.
can relate to this point because sometimes when you when you think that the person is way too available, you are like, that's suspicious. Maybe that's something that was like, why is she like that? She wants my money, or what is going on with this situation?
I think
Instead of just,
everything becomes a red flag when you've been single and on the dating scene, and you're discouraged and you're frustrated. Everything becomes a red flag. But we have to turn the spotlight onto the person, um,
yeah,
and try to
I
understand.
cannot imagine someone at that stage trying to getting through this alone. And that's where you come in with your
Yeah.
priceless experience. Love this story. And
And
again, I just hope,
sorry,
yeah,
go
go
ahead.
ahead, please. No, I get, it's a repeat of the same thing I said. I just hope it gets to the right people. Nowadays YouTube just serves you with some videos without asking. So hopefully it's gonna pop up somewhere who is someone who is gonna be sitting in front of Netflix alone and just doing some YouTubing or whatever, and then boom, you pop up
doing
and
some
me, but
doing some
you
dating
know,
swiping, and then I'll pop up.
yeah. And they
I
go like, but problem is me. Oh my God. Okay, discovery.
But that, you know what, it's no different than when I used to do therapy, and I would do a lot of therapy with parents who would come to me and say, you have to fix my kid. And my first reaction would be, your kid is perfect. Let's figure out what's going on that you have so many triggers, in your parenting style. And I think that applies to all areas of life. We always have to turn the mirror inward. And with my clients now in matchmaking, it really starts with just radical clarity. I don't tiptoe. I'm a straight shooter. You know, some people love that. Some people can't
Oh,
necessarily.
you don't waste time. I know.
I
When
don't.
you have questions for us in our technology CRM realm, you straightforward there for sure.
I believe that that's the only way that you can be your authentic self. And I try to teach my clients the same. I want to get to the core of what's blocking them. And whether it's some emotional residue, some pattern repetition, some unrealistic expectations, which it normally is, we just face it head on. I don't filter, and then we build a strategy. So I like to combine that high level coaching with the customized matchmaking, and then a timeline that just respects the intention of everyone involved. So every single step is co-created, and with my partner and I together behind the scenes, we our clients feel that they are accountable, and that they have to make decisions that are in their best interest. They just can't go on their gut feels anymore. We challenge them.
So obviously your clients are lucky. They get a really good package from you from so many angles, you know. I wonder if you're planning to offer post-match services, like for example, relationship counseling,
I
just parenting. If obviously your matches
Yes,
get into parenting, I hope they do. If it's not too late in their life, if they get to parent, I guess you could even expand your service. I don't know whether it's even
so
on
it's
your radar or not,
I
but it's interesting.
100%. So one of the ongoing jokes is that I become best friends with all my clients. So once they're matched and they're successful and they're off contract, every single one of them is still in my contact list, and they text me on a regular basis. Some become formal clients. So a lot of them actually, when they come into matchmaking, they already have their own therapist for whatever reason. They were working on other things.
Yeah.
But then they replace their therapist and they continue working with me. So they hire me to be their regular weekly therapist. I've done a lot of family therapy with my matchmaking clients because we uncover that there's family issues, and so they refer me on to their siblings, and they there's it just it expands into so many different dimensions. It doesn't stop with finding their match. We
Yeah,
develop.
there is no family without the problems. Tolstoy wrote that in his book Anna Karenina. It's just different problems for every family, but it is
That's
it
right.
is guaranteed you're gonna have problems, and I guess that's part of the wonderful life. It's not perfect, but it is perfect if you look at it from the point of view of you have problems, you work on them. It's all work. It's part of the work.
That's
All
right.
right, so how? So much to talk about, but let me shift a little bit the conversation towards maybe not your favorite topic. So you're great with people, you're great with therapy and psychology and helping your clients get back on track. I suppose I would guess that technology maybe is not your favorite topic. Is that
I
correct?
love I love technology.
You love technology. Okay, so you're different than many of our matchmakers. Okay, so let me get into the technology a little bit for those matchmakers and for those people who are looking at this show. I don't know if it's a big show, but a podcast, okay? And they're wondering what tips they can get from here. So we're gonna do first technology segment, and then we're gonna do other matchmaking business tips for those matchmakers, yeah, who are starting out, and it's always good to share. So um, again, to share with other matchmakers. What was your technology challenge, if you had any challenge, before SmartMatchApp, and how SmartMatchApp helped you in your business, uh, I don't know, maybe to make it more productive, to scale your business. Let's kind of like go in a few stages. Like, did you have a technology problem before SmartMatchApp?
So I didn't have a technology problem. I had a scaling issue and an organizational issue, because at the end of the day, you can't grow without a centralized system that can do everything all in one place. And so the problem was that I had to use, certain technology apps for one part of the business, other apps for other parts of the business, and it wasn't all consolidated into one. Um, And so when I discovered SmartMatch, it sort of became this platform that let me scale, you know, Matched by Ali without losing any personalization. I was able to bring everything into one place, and it actually did all the jobs that I was single handedly, referring out to various platforms before. So, um, it was actually very similar to what I had used for many years, which was Salesforce. And Salesforce is obviously a wonderful CRM, and I was almost considering using that for matchmaking, but SmartMatch is very fine tuned to exactly what a matchmaker requires. It really optimizes a lot of the features that I was looking for, and just I discovered it at the perfect time.
And I know that also it's all very very relevant with other matchmakers. They do come to us many times using or thinking of using Salesforce or already using it or Zoho or
Yeah.
HubSpot, and it's not designed for smart for matchmaking.
No.
So they end up either using those sales and marketing CRMs for the lead gen, for the marketing side of the things, and then synchronizing it with SmartMatchApp for the matchmaking, scheduling, and introducing clients and all that,
Yeah.
or just switching to SmartMatchApp completely. It's case by case, depends how aggressive they are with marketing. Because we're not very focused on sales and marketing, so you could do both with the technology APIs and Zapier. You can work with both sides. Again, for the matchmakers, if you're looking at it, you can consider all of those options. Ali, sticking with the smart match questions, what are your favorite features that that considerably helped you, like you said, scale or organize your business?
There's so many amazing features that you just can't find in other CRMs. I think the ability to tag behavioral data and sort of psychological insights is a game changer, because other platforms don't cater to that. So I use SmartMatch to track not only who's a potential fit, um, but why. So I can have tags on emotional alignment, energy types, and all of these intangibles. So this platform just supports all of that perfectly. It's got, it just somehow had the foresight to have those different areas and sections that allows me to sort of get into the more emotional side of human behavior and somehow translate that into numbers and data points. So
It's not
it's
surprising for me to hear that because you come from the background, how much attention you pay to emotional aspect of dating
yeah.
and matchmaking. So you use this data to help you match.
I do. I also use it. It's just an amazing organizational tool. And I'm a big fan of user friendly, right? So if I bring somebody on board, I need to be able to train them and have them use SmartMatch very quickly. It's very user friendly, very much like Apple. It doesn't take much training. It's kind of an intuitive platform. Um, and yeah, it really allows me to scale without losing any features or personalization. So it's not like I'm giving anything up by coming to this CRM versus, for example, a Salesforce, which might have, so many options, but at the same time, they're not options that are all catered specifically to matchmaking. Whereas I
And
can,
they're expensive to customize. I heard stories when matchmakers tried to customize Salesforce for matchmaking.
yeah.
First of all, they were not able to completely customize it. Second of all, they spent thousands of dollars trying.
Hmm.
So at the end, either they give up or just end up with a not so perfect matchmaking system
Yeah.
in Salesforce. And they just because they spent thousands of dollars, they just sort of stay with it. Most of the time, they still switch because it's just for matchmaking business, just like for any business. Like if you're in a coaching business or you're in a fitness business,
Yeah.
fitness coaching, there are apps that are made for that, and that's it. You just have to specialize.
For sure.
Thank you for sharing this. And one more question about us. It's about the service. So I just wanted to ask you how you found our service so far in terms of the customer support, or success managers. I know you work with Milan.
Yeah.
Just the overall idea how you find service. I find matchmakers really appreciate it being not so technical and having help. Maybe you need it less than others, but some people really need like hand holding. So how was your experience with our team?
Yeah. 1,000% probably the best experience I've had with any sort of IT industry. You guys, number one, like your number one focus is customer service, hands down. I think you run an amazing platform. So you all obviously are also focusing on all the other areas that are really, really important in running Smart Match. But it's obvious that hands down your customer service is very, very important to you. And you guys are willing to bend over backwards to not only help your clients but also incorporate new ideas and make modifications where there could be room for improvement, as you're getting feedback from your clients. So I really, really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not the least, if you were a beginner matchmaker, or if you were to advise a beginner matchmaker, what would be your number one recommendation? What problems to avoid or what areas to focus on?
I think it's important not to follow trends, because a lot of people are doing this now, and there's sort of a formula that everyone's following. And I don't necessarily know that that's the right way to go about it. I think people need to build their own brand based on their own personal insights and something unique that they bring to the table. And it should be based on depth. Learn about, do research, learn about people's traumas. What is attachment theory? What are the different communication styles? I would tell people, study psychology, not just dating tropes, and if you're lucky enough to find a great partner to go into business with that can challenge and complement you and sort of um, fill, your blind spots, you sort of get a beautiful team that is doing even better work. So my partner, she makes me better at what I do. It's like all of our clients have two heads, two people working for them. They're getting a dynamic that is, very balanced. I think that's really important. And on the business side, I would probably just say invest in infrastructure early on. An app like SmartMatch doesn't just save time. It's just going to help the overall business run on a more efficient level, and you'll be able to provide a higher level of service for sure. We're definitely in a better position now than before using SmartMatch. So those are the two things I'd say. Do a little homework, do a little studying, and make sure you've got some good infrastructure with a great partner.
It's not an easy business, but it is a business where you can absolutely succeed. Um, and I have to admit that we see a lot of startups coming to us,
Yeah.
looking for an app. Makes sense, but quite a few of them actually give up
Mm-hmm.
and close them. So it's not an easy business, but it can be quite successful
Yeah.
if you approach it just like any business. Organize yourself, get yourself resources, right tools, network. I would highly recommend everyone who is watching this show to join Matchmakers Alliance, for example, and network with other wonderful matchmakers, and not just matchmakers professionally, but people like Ali. The, everyone that I met is very happy to share, to network, to you know co-coach, help each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, Matchmakers Alliance. Definitely check it out on Facebook, on internet. Alison,
Alissa.
oops, sorry, Ali.
I'm
Just
gonna
cannot.
I'm gonna demand at least 6 months complimentary
I
services.
can Oops.
I have
We never
$6 million
recorded
on my
this
account.
video. We never recorded this video. That's it. I don't know. But Ali, last but not least, how can your clients or other matchmakers find you? Where should they go to contact you for one of your services or for collaboration with other matchmakers?
Yeah, so matchedbyally.com is our website, and my direct email is ali at matchedbyali.com. Very simple. We
Is it
also
the
have,
best place to?
it
This
is,
is
we
the
have,
best place.
we have we have an Instagram page and a Facebook page, but in all honesty, we rely very heavily on referrals and word of mouth. We're not big on marketing. We just have never found that we've needed to be. I think at one point we were considering what kind of marketing strategies we were going to employ, and there was just enough coming through with word of mouth and referrals, and so we basically just use our website as a landing page for people to upload profiles. But for the most part, you can just contact me directly.
Well, and that's a good thing because if you are growing and succeeding, obviously, with words of mouth, that is the best possible recognition, the best possible sign of you can imagine, the best possible reward. We are also very heavily relying on organic word of mouth and just all organic, like even YouTube even is giving us exposure. We're not doing any paid ads, so that's another I guess another interesting point. So I hope everyone got all the contact details. All right. If you would like to reach out to Ali and her team or to us, please do. It's very easy to find us as well. SmartMatchApp.com, double P at the end, and we'll be happy to help you and refer you. Thank you so much,
Thank you so much for your
Alice.
time.
Ali, you're so generous with your time. I appreciate it so much. Thank you for your patience.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed speaking with you.